Before Trump's tax cuts were signed, sealed, and delivered back in 2017, the president made some pretty big promises.
It will be the largest tax cut in the history of our country.
These massive tax cuts will be rocket fuel.
Most Americans will be able to file taxes on a single sheet of paper. What do you think about that?
Now, as someone who's still working on his 2018 taxes, I can tell you that's not true. And as it turns out, the rest of it is neither. According to a new report from the Nonpartisan Congressional Research Service, the cuts have made a relatively small, if any, first-year effect on the economy. So what did Trump's plan do? Among other things, it lowered many individual income tax rates a bit, doubled the standard deduction while eliminating personal exemptions, cut most itemized deductions, expanded the child tax credit, and of course the big one, it cut corporate tax rates. They're all things the president said would stimulate the economy. And yet the CRS says not so. In fact, when they looked at the GDP, gross domestic product, which is a main indicator used to gauge the health of a country's economy, they found it only grew 2.9% last year. That's the exact same pace as it grew in 2015. And here's the kicker. The report says that for the cuts to pay for themselves, as was often promised, they would have to directly lead to a more than 6.7% GDP growth. In other words, not going to happen anytime soon. As for the administration's other claims,
we expect not only will people see tax cuts, but people will see wage increases.
Nope. According to the report, there is, quote, no indication of a surge in wages in 2018, either compared to history or relative to GDP growth. As I said, while individual rates went down a little, corporate tax rates were cut in half. And just a reminder, most of those modest individual cuts are just temporary, while the business ones are forever. So if those big corporations didn't share the wealth from their giant tax cuts with their employees in the form of higher wages, they at least gave out bonuses, right? Barely. The report found $4.4 billion in bonuses were awarded last year. But when you divide that by the 157 million employees in the workforce, that comes out to around $28 per worker. So what did corporate leaders do with all that extra cash? They used a record $1 trillion to buy back stock. That's around 246 times more than they spent on worker bonuses for those keeping track. So remember this promise?
We will ensure that the benefits are focused on the middle class, the working men and women, not the highest income earners.
Turns out that wasn't exactly true either. But if it really is the economy, stupid, when 2020 comes around, the next part of Trump's statement might be.
And it's not good for me, believe me.
Guess we'll see about that. What do you think? Email us, tweet us, share your thoughts.